All right, so let's talk about this next story that we have for y'all today, right? South Korea to fly detained workers back as U.S. vows more raids on employers. All right, South Korea is moving to pick up Korean workers following a raid in the U.S. state of Georgia last week. A Korean presidential official said on Sunday as the Trump administration promised more raids on businesses. The negotiations to release 300 South Koreans who were detained have concluded, and processing for their release from custody is ongoing. South Korea's presidential office said late on Sunday. A charter plane will be flown in to bring them back as soon as the processing by the two countries is complete. The office said in a statement it did not provide details of what administration steps are being taken. The Yonhap news agency quoted South Korean Consul General in Washington, Cho King-jong, as saying the workers will likely board a plane on Wednesday. Representatives for the Department of Homeland Security did not respond to a request for comment, while White House Borders Czar Tom Homan separately vowed to expand immigration raids on workplaces. Later on Sunday, U.S. President Donald Trump sounded more conciliatory, while still driving home a vow to enforce tough immigration policy, calling on foreign companies to invest in the United States to respect our nation's immigration laws. Yo, listen, I'm not playing. Like, we should not let Korea fucking have anything here. And I'm going to show you why in a fucking second. Your investments are welcome, and we encourage you to legally bring your very smart people with very technical talent to build world-class products, and we will make it quickly and legally possible for you to do so, he said in a social media platform. Trump made the post shortly after telling reporters he would look at what happened, but that the incident had not harmed his relationship with South Korea. U.S. federal agents arrested about 475 workers at Hyundai's battery plant in Ellabelle, Georgia, on Thursday, in the largest single-site enforcement operation in the history of the Department of Homeland Security's investigative operations. Trump campaigned on making the immigration a pillar of his administration and moved to ramp up deportations nationwide. Since taking office in January, he has also buttressed his economic plan in large part on wooing other countries and foreign businesses to invest in the United States. The roundup of 475 workers, including 300 South Korean workers at the major Hyundai motor plant battery plant under construction, caused shock and dismay in Seoul as it came just 10 days after a summit between the U.S. and South Korean presidents where they pledged closer business ties. South Korea's government expressed regret about the arrest and the public release of the footage showing a major operation by U.S. immigration authorities involving armored vehicles detaining workers who were shackled and taken in. The DHS earlier said the operation was executed under judicial search warrant over alleged unlawful employment practices. A customs official has said many of those arrested did not have proper immigration authorization to work at the site, all those big parts of South Korean investment in the U.S. South Korea's presidential chief of staff, Kang Hoon-sik, said on Sunday the government will seek ways to improve the visa system of Korean workers traveling to the U.S. to prevent a similar incident. These motherfuckers literally just snuck over the goddamn border. I got you. Just give me a minute, all right? DA said the arrested workers were barred from working in the U.S. after crossing the border illegally or overstaying their visas. Relations remain fraught between Washington and Seoul as a key U.S. ally and investor as both sides seek to hammer out final details on their trade deal announced in July. The trade deal includes $350 billion fund to help Korean companies enter the U.S. market, while Hyundai said it was boosting its U.S. investments to $26 billion, including a U.S.-based robotics factory. The site on the raid was a $4.3 billion project to produce EV batteries with Hyundai and LG Energy Solution, each holding a 50% stake as one of the largest economic development projects in Georgia's history. LG Energy Solution has suspended staff business trips to the United States other than certain exceptional cases, and we're recalling those employees now in the United States. Trump may visit South Korea in October for the Gathering of Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation event, Reuters said, has reported in citing sources. Let's talk about this. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation, all right? Are we an economic zone or are we a fucking nation, right? Because I'll be honest with you, there's some things I think personally that I don't give a fuck how much money you're throwing at our fucking country. We should not allow. Let me say that again. I think there are some things that are more important than fucking money. Child workers found throughout Hyundai Kia's supply chain in Alabama. Children work for at least 4 Alabama parts suppliers to Hyundai and Kia in recent years. Reuters found staffing agencies place migrant minors in plants where regulations ban kids from working. State and federal authorities are investigating. At least 4 major part suppliers of the Hyundai Motor Company and sister Kia Corp have employed child labor at Alabama factories in recent years. A Reuters investigation found, and state and federal agencies are probing whether kids have worked at as many as half a dozen additional manufacturers throughout the automaker supply chain in the southern U.S. state. At a plant owned by Hawaiian American Corp., a supplier to the 2 car brands in South Alabama town of Greenville, a 14-year-old Guatemalan girl worked this May assembling auto body components, according to interviews with her father-in-law enforcement officials at plants owned by Korean auto part makers Ajin International Co. In the East Alabama town of Cusseta, a former production engineer told Reuters he worked with at least 10 minors and 6 other employees of Ajin. They said, too, worked alongside the multiple underage laborers. In 2 separate statements sent by the public relations for Hawashin and Ajin said their policies forbid the hiring of any worker not of legally employable age. Using identical language, both companies said they hadn't, to the best of their knowledge, hired underage workers. Fucking lies. The employment of children at Hawashin and Ajin hasn't been previously reported. The news follows a Reuters report in July that revealed the use of child workers, one as young as 12, by Smart Alabama LLC, a Hyundai subsidiary in South Alabama town of Laverne. In August, the U.S. Department of Labor said that SL Alabama LLC, another Hyundai supplier and a unit of South Korea's SL Corp., employed underage worker, including a 13-year-old, in its factory at Alexander City. Since then, as many as 10 Alabama plants that supply parts to Hyundai or Kia have been investigated for child labor by various state and federal law enforcement or regulatory agencies. According to 2 people familiar with the probes, the investigations are being conducted across small towns and rural outposts where many of the suppliers and the job recruiters that staff them are located. It isn't yet clear whether the probes will lead to criminal charges, fines, or other penalties, the 2 people said. On August 27, a team in the Labor Department and Alabama state inspectors arrived unannounced at one of Ajin's plants, according to people familiar with the operation. As the team arrived, workers rushed out the back and left the premises before they could be questioned. One of the inspectors told a meeting of Alabama's anti-human trafficking task force last month. According to 2 people who attended the inspection, haven't previously been reported. A Labor Department spokesman, Eric Lucero, told Reuters that the agency's wage and hour division has an open investigation into Ajin, but declined to confirm whether the probe was related to child labor. In a statement, Ajin said it will cooperate fully with any investigations by law enforcement. Hyundai, in a statement, told Reuters it does not condone or tolerate violations of labor law and requires that our suppliers and businesses strictly adhere to the law. Lies. Lies. Fucking straight lies. Kia, for its part, says strongly condemns any practice of child labor and not tolerate any unlawful or unethical workplace practices internally or within our business partners and suppliers. Hyundai and Kia, South Korea's 2 largest automakers, are sister companies, controlled by parent Hyundai Motor Group. Both companies told Reuters they are reviewing hiring practices used by their suppliers. The discovery of child labor at additional plants in Hyundai's American supply chain could deal a fresh reputational blow to a company whose fast growth and popularity in recent years has led it to become the 3rd largest automaker by U.S. sales. Well, that's because they're cheap. Because they're using trafficked children. The early reports of child labor drew law enforcement and regulatory scrutiny to the company's ability to meet its own professed ethical standards and comply with basic labor regulations in the U.S. They are trafficking children. Their own ethical standards. What of ours? What about our ethical fucking standards? Do we have any ethical standards? If I had a Kia right now, I'd literally drive it into a fucking dealership if it was me. If I had a Hyundai, I'd drive it into a fucking dealership. Tell them to go fuck themselves and light it on fire. Fucking trafficking children. Does anybody have any balls left in this fucking... Is there any Christian with any nutsacks at all? Do any of you have any testicles? Just about your consumption, right? Just about the consumption. Feel you. In-house human rights policies posted by both brands online prohibit child labor in Hyundai and Kia facilities, among other suppliers too. Alabama and U.S. law restrict factory work for people under age 16, and all workers under 18 are forbidden from many hazardous jobs in auto plants where metal presses, cutting machines, and speeding forklifts can endanger life and limb. At the early reporting by Reuters on child labor at suppliers, Smart and SL, Hyundai's chief operator... Bro, listen, by the way... Motherfuckers sat here and went and set Teslas the fuck on fire and keyed the fucking Teslas and fucked up and protested this shit over way less than this. In its recent statement to Reuters, Hyundai said it's canceled its plans to cut off suppliers where minors have worked. Oh. Two of its suppliers, Smart and SL, have taken corrective action to fire staffing. Bro, listen, they're not even gonna like fucking, bro, like, listen, they don't care, right? Earlier this year, Reuters showed how staffing agencies in rural Alabama recruited undocumented workers from Central America, including minors who had entered the U.S. without parents or guardians, and supplied them to chicken processing plants. As with those minors, at least some children who worked in Hyundai suppliers used false identities and documentation obtained through black market brokers, sometimes with the help of staffing firms themselves. I fucking can't. Like, these fucking people should be... Kia and Hyundai should be banned from doing... Korea should be banned from doing business in the United States. You know who's not standing? Iran. Iran's not trafficking children into the U.S. North Korea is not trafficking children into the U.S. Russia is not trafficking children into the U.S. Italy, Spain, fucking France is not trafficking children into the fucking U.S. to go do jobs for them. Why are we making fucking deals with these garbage fucking countries? Why are we fucking, like, interacting with these fucking shitbag fucking countries? They are literally, they're paying the fucking cartel to bring children into the fucking countries. Children are getting sexually abused on the way the fuck up so that they can work in a fucking factory so you motherfuckers can have cheap cars so the Koreans can make more profit. You ain't got a fucking problem with that? If you don't have a fucking problem with that, I got a fucking problem with you and you shouldn't be watching my fucking channel. I'm fucking so aggravated right now, bro. Like, I'm so fucking aggravated at the fucking moment. Listen, listen, I'm gonna stop right now before I fucking say some shit's gonna get me in real fucking trouble. Like, real shit. I'm gonna fucking stop right now. Like, real shit. I'm fucking, listen, yo,